What's up, nerds? It's Havoc. Got another replay for you guys here today. I'm showcasing the new Panzerjaeger Kommand Battlegroup from DAK. I'm not gonna lie, it's been really difficult for me to get really good games with this battle group, especially in 1v1. Number one, just because I play a lot of random and I haven't been getting DAK that much. And number two, my games have tended to be really short. Either I'm completely stomping my opponent or I'm completely getting stomped. That's kind of the nature of DAK currently in 1v1s. But this was a longer game. I'm not going to say which one of those circumstances it was, but I think one of the more interesting games, and I can showcase some of the strengths, my general build composition for this battle group currently on one of the new maps, Crossing in the Woods, the 1v1 version. Was really happy to see this ported over from COH3. I think this version is the right size for a 1v1 setting. And so I'll talk through the strategy on this map, the macro, and then also like how to play this map specifically with DAK. So starting out, I have been going for a bike into 2 Panzergrenadier starter. Leaning into one side, I think, is the best way to start with DAK and concentrating your forces. I say this about Axis a lot. Their units are much stronger when used together than separately, unlike USF, which you want to play really wide with, and we'll see PAX kind of do that throughout this game. So I catch out his scout here. I'm going to collapse in on it with all my units. Managed to pick off this scout. PAX was quite late in trying to retreat it. And then we're forcing away the second one there. Now we've captured and connected the +10, which is our highest priority. And then we're gradually going to inch our way out onto the other sides of the map. Pulling our Pioneer back because it's the lowest unit we've got. Using the bike and the PG here to push in on the Jeep. I'm actually getting some really great penetration, so I'm just going to try to collapse in. And we managed to kill it. So right from the jump, PAX is like super far behind because he's lost a scout and his Jeep right from the jump. I'm going to continue the aggression. Just said LOL because I'm like kind of feeling a little bit bad for him. Now just talking about Crossing in the Woods specifically, this map is really interesting and unique because there's really high accessibility cutoffs and the fuels are very far away from the bases. Like the primary fuels are quite far away from the bases, so it's very easy to either lose access to all of your fuel or to like snowball the game dramatically by connecting both. And because of the lead we've got, I'm looking to continue to capitalize on that before he starts churning out the riflemen that are just going to overrun me with numbers. And so you can see here my second Panzergrenadiers exited base. I'm going to start connecting the munitions points. Fuel is my number one priority as DAK at the beginning of the game. It's usually the number one priority for any faction, so you can get your tech tempo going. And get access to your first light vehicle as soon as possible. And for DAK, that's extra important. So here, forcing off his engineer, I'm going to go to cut off this fuel, which I'm anticipating he's potentially connected at this point. I'm going to bypass the munitions point with the Panzergrenadier. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm applying a whole bunch of pressure to his cutoff right now, and I'm anticipating that if he has captured this over here, he's going to draw his units back to the cutoff to try to recapture it. What that's going to do is leave this fuel point exposed and give me the potential opportunity to connect both of these fuel points at the same time, which is going to give me a whole bunch of fuel tempo. So we're doing that, but then as soon as I realize he's got the numerical advantage just to avoid the bleed, I'm just going to backpedal with the bike, capture the middle VP, expecting he's probably going to commit his troops to either this side or he's going to push in for my cutoff. I'm keeping my bike in the middle facing him so I can see which one I'm choosing. Seeing that he's starting to come towards the middle, I'm rotating my second Panzergrenadier over, and if he continues to push in, I'm going to have my Panzergrenadier here and able to respond to that threat. Because I did an early retreat on this PG, coming back out of base should be... I'm actually a little bit slow in pulling that back out. Panzerpio here on the right-hand side. I'm waiting actually for the munitions to plant some S-mines. So, just talking a little bit about the Panzerjaeger Kommand Battlegroup. I like the blockade equipment. I think it's interesting. The wire can be really useful, but frankly, I just feel like this is more suitable for team games where you're trying to really control the flow of your opponent. In a 1v1 setting, I just don't really see these being super useful or applicable most of the time. The mines are much better. So a quick couple things about the mines. Number one, a lot of people ask me, Havoc, what the hell is the difference between the Regal mine and the Teller mine? The Regal mine is, so they're both 50 munitions. The difference is the Regal mine does 500 damage and the Teller mine does 400 damage. That's the difference. That's it. Prior to the release of this battle group, the only way to access the Regal mine was from the 251 for Wehrmacht. You had to get Vet 1 on an unupgraded half track. I actually think they may have changed that so that the medical one can lay Regal mines. But anyway, that was the difference. And now, since the release of this battle group, the Panzer Pios can drop these Regal mines. They will effectively one-shot any light vehicle. For anything from the Chaffee to the Stuart to the Greyhound, anything with under 500 health is a one-shot kill. So these can be really, really great for like trapping. You know, if you manage to kill your opponent's light vehicle, like you're getting a huge boost of tempo. And if you're playing light vehicle heavy with DAK, like you will be much of the time, it's going to give you the freedom to get really aggressive after that. Additionally, so besides the Regal mine, you have these S mines. Now it says the cost of these are 45 munitions. It plants a 3x3 field of S mines. Effectively, if your opponent runs into like 2 of these S mines out of the 9 that are placed, their squad will be at like 20% HP. If they hit a third one, there's a good chance that they'll lose like the majority of the squad and they'll have to retreat. And this leaves great opportunities for wiping. So what you really want to be using these for is planting them on high priority points that your opponent is likely to send isolated squads and or really important defensive positions like this cutoff here. So you'll see over the course of this game, I'm laying S-mines on this +10. I'm also laying them on my cutoff here. And I'll be looking for other opportunities to lay Regal mines in the key traversal points on this map for vehicles. You can lay them either defensively or offensively, depending on whether or not you see your opponent have a minesweeper. But like this central road is a great place for a Regal mine. It's very common for your opponent to kind of traverse with vehicles down this road. The river crossing points are also, they're like very narrow chokes that the vehicles can cross. So like right here is very good. Here, on the offensive side, you can put one here, here, and then like this choke here as well. Very common for vehicle traversal. But I think like the center of the map, the most commonly traversed points is really where you want to prioritize with these. So this is also part of my standard opener with the DAK build. I'm going for 2 PGs into tech upgrade and then MG34. MG34 is going to allow you to keep your opponent from running you over with a big blob, which frankly is what you want to do against DAK. It's very... The DAK's really, like, their biggest weakness is getting picked apart and or outnumbered and just kind of like overrun by the rifleman swarm. We can see PAX leading into a third rifleman here. And despite our early tempo, like we're having a little bit of trouble fighting him early on. I also want to call out one of the key differences between the MG34 and the 42 is the 34 has a little bit less suppression, but much better damage at long range compared to the 42. This is, of course, you know, excluding the cloak. So it's actually perfect to, in this circumstances like this, to place behind your troops and just deal damage to the units in cover and to force them to keep their distance. You can see here I'm laying down all 9 S-mines, but one of the other things I want to call out about the S-mines is that you can actually cancel the placement of some of these. So if I wanted to, I could lay down like just these 3 mines and then leave the rest, and that's actually going to allow me to get back the other 30 munitions worth of mines that I would have otherwise laid. So you need 45, similar to COH3, you need 45 munitions to start laying the mines. But but you don't need to spend all 45 munitions laying them, if that makes sense. So I could cancel these other 5 mines, and I'll get 5 munitions back for each mine that I decide not to build. So laying some mines on the flank here, expecting, you know, at some point he's going to try to come back and harass this fuel. I'm just going to continue to build my manpower advantage and just kind of like gradually move my way up towards the middle and towards his cutoff again. Bike is coming back, coming in here on the flank. He retreats his scout. Bike's coming in on the flank to get the marked target. Deal some extra damage. I'm going to push in with the PGs. You can see this PG is also coming in on the flank so that if he overstays, I'm going to have an opportunity. Try to kill him. There we go. We're pushing in with the bike, going for the cutoff. Meanwhile, Panzer Pioneer over here in the lower priority area, just trying to decapture this munitions point. And then based on where I see him move next is where I'm going to decide like whether I'm going to move my troops over to the left side. But staying on this cutoff is pretty high priority for me right now, because once I cut this off, the only fuel point he's getting is this +5, and that's going to give me a ton of fuel. So, because I've got such a massive lead, at this point, I'm either going for the Panzerjaeger or the Assault Grenadier. I'm going for the Assault Grenadier because I know for sure that he's not going to have a vehicle anytime soon. I've done way too good of a job cutting off his point. So I'm going for the Assault Grenadier. Normally, if the game is very even and I'm anticipating like an early M3 half track from my opponent, I'm actually going for the Panzerjaeger at this point. And I tend to select tank busters. These guys scale a lot better. They support your light vehicles a lot better over the course of the game. I think the GRB is okay, but if your opponent is playing highly mobile, it's not really super useful. I think this is much better against like UKF and sections who want to hug cover. But against USF, like most of the time their troops are on the move. They're out of cover. They're spread out. So the GRB provides limited value. Like I mentioned, the tank busters, they're just a much better, stronger source of anti-tank in the early game, mobile anti-tank. Between the cloak and the special snares that they get, which we'll talk about when I get them, I think these are much better choice between these two. So I'm going for Assault Grenadier here because I want to keep up the tempo. I know going for Panzerjaeger is just going to be a waste at this point. I like Assault Grenadier in combination with the 250 call-in, which we'll talk about shortly, because of the free grenades and the pushing power that you get, which can be difficult to do, especially against riflemen with these PGs, and even with the bike combo, it can be difficult to push into cover or to riflemen that are in defensive positions. So I'm going for the Assault Grenadier here for that reason. Now, I'm not responding to him moving to the fuel on this side because I'm defending it with the S-mines. I'm pretty sure that if he runs through the S-mine field, he's just going to lose the squad. So I'm very content to stay on his cutoff and move and respond by capturing these points on the left-hand side of the map. Keeping the MG on the cutoff here. There we go, forcing that squad away with the MG. Looks like he's going to go for the VP capture, which is probably the right choice considering he's about to be triple capped if he doesn't. And now I'm going to start moving and responding with the Assault Grenadier and the Panzer Pile to the right-hand side. And I'm also going for the sweeper upgrade on my Panzer Pile. I'm not usually building more than one, so I think going for the hazard removal package is the most important option. There we go. Assault Grenadier catches his scout that was attempting to flank and cut off. And we've got our Panzer Grenadiers moving over here to the left-hand side. Now, I'm a little bit late in doing this, but I am eventually going to go for defensive positions. Again, for 1v1 context, this is just much better. It allows you to start playing a little bit more wide with your troops because of the combined arms bonus. It's just going to make them better categorically. Here we go, laying those S-mines that I talked about. Now that I've seen his scout take this reversal point, and again, I'm not laying a whole ton of them. I'm just laying 5, right? 5 is going to be enough to deter him from capturing that point. PAX actually does a good job of running over here, and he actually did hit a couple of these, and then he brought over the engineer with the sweeper. So I'm responding to this outlier position by bringing over almost all of my troops. Panzer Grenadier, I'm actually pulling back to base. I'm going to get my truck after the 8-rad. Now, when do you go for the Flak Veerling versus the 8-rad? I like the 8-rad when you have really strong tempo. If it's dead even, I feel like the Flak Veerling is better at creating space and pressuring your opponent's infantry. They also do better, a little bit better against light vehicles once they get Vet 1 than the 8-rad does. But what I want the 8-rad for is its speed and its effectiveness, especially on the move, to continue applying pressure to his infantry. So I'm going for the 8-rad at this point for that purpose, to allow me to kind of zip around the map and continue to apply the extra pressure to him. Meanwhile, we've got Panzer is going to decapture this point. Assault Grenadier is going to force off this engineer. Really know why he thought maybe he could fight that. I get a little bit tunnel vision and I missed his rifleman swarm coming up over this left-hand side. And now I'm going for the Panzerjaeger Kommand. Now, I'm not really sure whether or not to anticipate an M3 from him at this point. I'm not 100% sure how much fuel he actually has. So just to be on the safe side and to protect my 8-rad, but also for the potential of, like, if he happened to have a GMC to defend against whatever vehicle I have, then the Panzerjaeger is going to allow me to be really aggressive in combination with the 8-rad and try to dive it and kill it, right? But really, I really want to get the half track out so I can use it with my Assault Grenadiers. And then the Assault Grenadiers in combination with the 8-rad is just going to be a really powerful wiping tool to be aggressive with him. PAX, because he's short on fuel, has actually gone for bazookas. You can see he's also teching grenades here so that he can snare my 8-rad. I'm expecting that he's got snares already. Most good USF players will get it pretty early on against DAK, because a 250 kill or a bite kill can really turn the tide of the game in your favor even early on. Just gonna get some quick repairs on the 8-rad, swinging in with the Assault Grenadier. And this is the best way to use the Assault Grenadiers. They get some incredible buffs coming out of the 250 with the disembark bonus. So really quickly here, I'm just going to talk about, so how you make sure this is triggered is wait for your 250 to fire at something. Once your 250 is in combat, you've triggered the disembark bonus for your Assault Grenadiers, so you can just get them out and back away your 250. That's what I'm doing most of the time, just to protect it, especially against something like the Bazooka Squad. So I've triggered the disembark bonus, I'm backing my 250 away to make sure it doesn't take damage, and I'm going to get really aggressive on the highest priority target, which for me right now is the Rifleman. Once I force the Rifleman away, he really doesn't have any effective combat units to keep me from pushing into his cutoff. So Rifleman first. Coming out of the 250, the disembark bonus gives me access to a free grenade assault, as well as a little bit of damage resistance, which is really great. It also gives a lot of speed. Where is it? Disembark. So here's the bonus right here. 40% speed, 15% damage, and grenade assault is free to use for the duration of the ability. The nice thing is, like, you can get up in your opponent's face, and then right before the ability is about to finish, you could throw grenades potentially. So you do have that whole window of opportunity to decide whether or not you want to throw grenades. Generally, if you're planning to throw grenades, it's better to close the gap first, because it's harder for your opponent to respond to grenades that are thrown here versus grenades that are thrown like over, maximum distance, because they can much more easily see them coming and where they're going to land. So I decide I'm not going to use the assault grenades here. Now I'm focusing on the Bazooka Squad so I can get my 8-rad and bring that into the action. PG's pushing in with the 250. Again, we're going for the big cutoff here. Probably going to plant some more mines over here, and we've got some great tempo. Managed to pick off the scout. Very, very late retreat from that scout. And now we're going to get our truck out. Now, the reason why we went for the truck at this point, I actually mentioned I'm going to get the truck after the 8-rad, but I was wrong. I'm actually going to get the 250 first, again, for the purpose of tempo. And remember, this doesn't go on cooldown until you use it, and it's got a 6-minute cooldown. So using this pretty much as soon as possible is pretty critically important. I think, like I mentioned, if I'm building a Panzerjaeger, which is what I'm usually doing if it's an even game, then I will go for the Assault Grenadier call-in. The nice thing about going for that order is it actually makes the Assault Grenadier a little bit cheaper because the mechanized group here is 275, whereas building the Assault Grenadiers from your tier 2 is 300. So it's actually a little bit cheaper to build it in the reverse order that I did this game, but I decided to get the Assault Grenadiers first because I wanted that extra tempo. I knew the Panzerjaeger wasn't gonna help me much with where we were at in that. So I'm gonna pull these units away. My truck should be coming up pretty soon, but I'm also gonna back this up and trigger the medical station heals on my half track. See? There we go. This is a great activity to do, by the way, if your 250's taking a little bit of damage. Just use your medical station ability while you're repairing it, and you're getting a ton of value out of this interaction, while my frontline troops are continuing to apply pressure here. All of these little things add up with DAK, and frankly, in order to be competitive with DAK, this is the kind of small things that you need to continuously do. So now that we've healed up, 250's back in action. I'm going to push in with my Assault Grenadiers. There's a great cluster of infantry I'm going to throw grenades at here. Great assault grenade. We also managed to pick off one of the captain, I think, was over here with the PG before forcing a retreat. Oh, 8-rad. I didn't see his bazooka team push up, and we actually end up losing the 8-rad, which is a great. Now, what do you do in this situation? Right? I see a lot of people, they're like, oh no, I lost my vehicle. I better wait till I can get my next tech level and then get another vehicle. More often than not, that is actually the wrong decision. Most of the time, you want to rebuild for the purpose of continuing the pressure on your opponent. And in this case, that's what I'm going to opt to do. I was going to go for support armor elements, thinking about going for Stugs, because I know he's got a bazooka team and the 50 cal. But I'm like, you know what? I'll actually cancel this at some point soon. And we're going to put another 8-rad into production to continue to keep up the pressure. And again, because I've got this Panzerjaeger squad, I've got access to tank busters. Now, why haven't I upgraded this yet? Because the Panzerjaeger is actually... The AT rifles are actually not terrible against infantry. You put like a Panzerjaeger up against a bazooka squad, they'll actually trade pretty evenly. The Panzerjaeger will trade better. But if you get the Panzerschreck, this unit becomes much more useless against infantry. So I'm saving the upgrade for when I know I'm going to need it. And, using it for kind of like support infantry in the meantime. So there we go, doing a quick round of repairs. I'm going to get really aggressive on... First, I'm going to go for this bazooka squad because it's relatively low. If he overstays, I'm going to be able to wipe it, and that's going to be a huge win for me because then he's got no counter to my 8-rad, except, potential GMC he could have at this point, but it looks like PAX is going to opt for another rifleman instead. So we're going to go for the bazooka team first, and then if he retreats quickly... I'm going to see if I get, some good RNG and can maybe wipe this, but if not, then I'm going to swing over and go for the engineer. And this is something you need to continuously do as DAK. You need to position to get ahead of outlier units, and that's how you build the advantage that you need to win the game. Here I'm catching out his engineer with the 8-rad. I'm swinging my assault grenadiers, positioning to get behind him, and now I'm going to chase him down with... the Assault Grenadier 8-rad combo. Throwing some grenades. These were a little bit early. But I'm still going to commit to this. The reason why I'm not afraid of the riflemen so much... Oh, I actually don't manage to pick up the wipe here. But I want to commit to killing this because that's going to make my mines much, much more effective. Actually, still very late on selecting my defensive positions. I definitely should have done that. Good grenade to force me away from PAX. I'm going to rotate my way towards the cutoff here again eventually, but not before pressuring his 50 cal. I've triggered the accuracy, the fire discipline ability on the MG34, which gives me extra damage. You can see I'm really chewing up this rifleman here. It finishes, and now I'm gonna see if I can close in, potentially pick up the wipe, but he responds quickly with the bazooka there, so well played by PAX to defend that retreating rifleman. And again, I'm just gonna play middle, play relatively defensively, and then wait for that next opportunity to try to pick off an outlier unit. Very close there. The medical truck, that would have been pretty bad. There we go, Panzerjaeger moving to the outlier points. Again, you know, not seeing a ton of use of this because there's no vehicles from PAX yet, so I'm just going to use it as my outlier unit to capture territory since I lost my bike. 34, getting a little bit too aggressive, a little careless there. Good grenade attempt by PAX. I think if he had thrown it a little bit further behind when he saw I was retreating, that he might have been able to pick it up. Gonna do a quick round of repairs. At this point, I'm thinking about maybe tier 3, and also veteran squad leaders is something I might consider getting at this point. You can see I just triggered it there. Since he's playing super infantry heavy, this is really gonna help my infantry scale better and also give me some extra firepower on my PGs, as well as some defensive buffs on my MG34 team and my Panzerjaeger. Here we go, we finally triggered our defensive positions. So how to use this ability, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's going to give you the combined arms bonus when you're not near vehicles and you're in cover in friendly territory, so it's actually going to make my my PGs perform much better in this circumstance. And again, you want to use your Panzer Grenadiers as your anchor unit. They're great DPS from long range, especially with the MG34. And the Assault Grenadier 250 combo is what you use to be aggressive and take back space or create or force kind of like a spearhead through your opponent. So I'm being really aggressive here with the Assault Grenadiers, triggering the Assault Disembark. Right, we're dropping off the Assault Grenadiers, then backing away. That's the safest thing to do here. 8 Rad I'm a little bit slow to respond to, but again, forcing away these... forcing away the rifleman. I can see his 50 cal responding. Gonna capture this VP on the left-hand side. Triggering the ambush bonus here on the PJs allows them to get some decent shots off. The accuracy bonus usually allows them to land both shots on the Panzerbuska, which does great chunk damage to units like the engineer. So, pressed by the 50 cal, I'm just gonna finish this capture and retreat, keeping the PG in the defensive position. PG, you know, or PJ not having a great time against the engineer when it's closed the gap, so I'm just gonna back it away slowly. Runs into MG34 with both of his riflemen, so that's a very lucky interaction for me. Gonna keep holding this down, responding with the 8 Rad to defend my cutoff here. And now I'm moving to cut off this engineer. So I want you guys to kind of see, like, perception and being able to kind of perceive, like, what's my next move gonna be. Seeing a winning engagement and then immediately thinking about what is my next move is what's going to take you from like 1200 elo to like 1500 elo. So in this case, I knew I was going to win this engagement, so I'm looking at my next opportunity. What I know for sure is that he's got an engineer over here that started the decapture. My PJ is over here. My PG is moving into a position to decapture this territory and also support a potential push onto the retreat path of this engineer unit. So I know I'm going to win this engagement. I haven't issued the command yet, but my next move is going to be to intercept this engineer on the retreat path. And again, I really want to prioritize killing the minesweeper because that's going to open up lots more opportunities for me to lay S-mines that are going to be devastating to his. There we go. Getting the capture. See, I'm moving into the retreat path here. Very intentional about this. And here comes the 8 Rad. Not paying too much attention here, actually. I actually mispositioned for a little bit. PGs are going to trade much better now against the rifleman with the 6th man. Oh, a little bit slow. A little bit slow on moving the 8 Rad here. I got a little distracted by this interaction. But I'm going to get really aggressive with the 8 Rad. Great grenade on the retreat path. Chasing in with the PGs and the 8 Rad. Very lucky, actually, that I hit the mine there with the PG and not the 8-rad, because that could have been another dead 8-rad. To back this away here, I'm actually curious. Did PAX get the upgraded? Hasn't.
A victory point is being taken from us.
And again, PJ not gonna have any trouble with this bazooka squad. You hear? You know, I see this is not a great engagement for me. I'm gonna keep at long range where I'm gonna be more effective. MG34 is gonna come in behind and force this squad out of this position. Pulling the 8-rad back to base for quick repairs. Again, don't forget, you know, I see a lot of players kind of forget that all their squads can repair. Well, most of their line infantry can repair. So doing this on the field is super important as much as possible, so that you're keeping the usefulness of your vehicles at their peak. Okay. So that was me laying some butterfly bombs. And this is a trick that you guys, if you're playing team games, you've probably seen recently. I'm laying butterfly bombs on the retreat path of the riflemen. I actually ended up losing. Didn't end up being at all. But I'm laying butterfly. So I forced the grenade on this rifleman squad to force the retreat of the riflemen. And I was hoping that maybe because I killed his engineer that he wouldn't have another one yet. And I laid the butterfly bombs on the retreat path, so that I could potentially pick up the finishing wipe on this rifleman. But PAX actually did a great job of making sure that he got another engineer with the sweeper out as soon as possible. Getting really aggressive in here with the 8-rad and the assault grenadier. To chase that down with the movement speed. I mean, look how fast this is. I can almost keep up with the retreating 50 cal there. So losing the PG, it ended up not being worth it for me at all, but you know, we have such a lead, it's not too huge of an, like if you look at the VPs, if you look at AD right now, and I'm going to be starting to think about tier 4. So I've got my tier 4 up. I'm going to go for the P3. I'm really happy with the buffs that they did to the P3. The machine guns are much better on it. It just feels much more effective of a vehicle now. Put my MG in the wrong direction. That quickly. Grenadier here. Assault Grenadier coming in. Again, you know, making really great use of this disembark bonus. Using my assault grenades. Using the smoke to get away. We pick up one of the riflemen and force the group away. Very good interaction there for us. And again, you know, winning engagement, immediately responding by what's the outlier unit that I can go for, right? So these units moving straight into the retreat path of the rifleman. The 8-rad is going to start applying the initial pressure. And if PAX doesn't retreat quickly, he's going to get caught here. He's really, honestly, this is so greedy. He really wants the decap here on the fuel. Putting the assault grenadiers directly on the retreat path, following with the PGs. Staying in the green cover here. But unfortunately, we get suppressed anyways. And the 8-rad, as long as I don't run into his bazooka, I'm going to go for that pickup when we manage to kill the rifleman's big pickup for us. Now, I want to talk quickly about crew shock tactics. So crew shock tactics, this ability, I learned actually, this ability works on any unit that has a cannon. So not just tank destroyers like Martyrs or the Elephant or PAC-38, or even, you know, it works on the Panzerjaeger version of the tank busters. It works on any unit that has a cannon. So that's actually going to include the Panzer III. When using crew shock tactics, I would recommend using it on something like a Panzer III over, say, an Elephant or a Tiger, because the rate of fire on the Panzer III is higher, which means you're going to be applying crew shock tactics more often. And that's going to allow you to lock units in place to follow up with, you know, whatever heavier unit you happen to have, whether it's another tank, a tank destroyer, Martyr, Elephant, whatever it is. So that's a quick call out I wanted to make about crew shock tactics. Is don't forget that you can use it on units like the Tiger, units like the Panzer III. Using my vehicles here, get really aggressive. I'm doing the armory upgrade for emergency repair kits so that my vehicles will again be able to continue building more tempo. and obviously the extra health, but being able to repair themselves in the field is going to allow me to be more active with them.
Victory point under enemy control.
Panzer Grenadier, a little out of position here. It's a bit micro on my part.
Upgrade complete, Commandant.
I decided to upgrade the Shrek because I thought maybe he would go for like another vehicle by now, but you know, that was a bad read by me. But yeah, this isn't really a big problem for me at this point. My infantry are pretty dominant, and I've got the vehicles to back them up as well. So this isn't a huge miss, but yeah, by having this as a Panzerschreck instead of a Panzerjaeger right now, I'm losing a little bit of anti-infantry. Now, I really want to kill this bazooka squad. What I should be doing, I miss micro this a little bit here, but I should be bringing in both my P3 and my assault grenadiers. Again, we're trying to continue this cutoff maneuver of I'm baiting him into an engagement that he thinks is favorable. I'm coming in on the flank with my mechanized troops to completely cut him out from the knees, right? So I really want to kill this bazooka squad because it's Vet 3. Baiting him with the 8-rad. P3 is following up. Assault Grenadier. I'm going to focus on killing the engineer first. A little bit late on the grenades. But we did kill the engineer. The 50 cal does cover the retreat. Nice for him. But we did kill the engineer. He has to build another engineer. I think this is the third one. But PAX, you know, kudos to PAX. Like, he recognizes the importance of having the sweeper, because if he doesn't have the sweeper, I'm just going to be mining everything. So 8-rad over here, just going to apply pressure to his cutoff. 8-rad going to come over here after a little bit of emergency repairs. And we're not going in right away. I think my P3, yep, P3 is moving over now. Again, same maneuver, right? And PAX, you know, he's trying to be a little bit more careful, but this time, unfortunately, you know, Vet 2 8-rad, very good at dealing damage to unit 3. P3 is going to follow up. And we're going to try to chase this down.
Proximity alarm near our victory point.
There we go. Another big pickup for me. And that's like, you know, what is that? Like the third squad that we've wiped on retreat by trying to capture this plus 10. So getting a ton of value out of that. Oh, ran into a mine here. Just gonna pop the vehicle smoke so I don't get chewed up by the 50 cal. Throw in a stun grenade. Assault Grenadier manages to get a little bit behind the 50 cal, but unfortunately this last model gets picked off there. Forced to retreat that. Vehicle's rotating back to the center. Just gonna do some repairs on this 250 and go for the plus 10 capture. 8-rad P3 combo. Oh, I think that's a mistake on his part, going for the engine damage. Oh, he does manage to squeak away. It's the S-mines. And now, again, trying to collapse and kill on this this bazooka squad. P3 applying good pressure as well. A little bit slow on getting my units back out of it. It'll... Getting caught out here by the rifleman. Trying to back away. PG gets forced away by his 50 cal. Panzerjaeger again, just focusing on capturing the outlier points because I can't really do anything with this. Gets snared by the rifleman. P3 coming in to protect as well as the machine gun. Assault Grenadiers coming over as well. I'm using the Vet 1 ability on the P3 to try to apply enough pressure on his rifleman to deter him from chasing my 250. But we end up losing it there, unfortunately. But we're going to continue chasing this rifleman. There we go. Should pick off the rifleman. Going to pick up that bar. It's a little bit better than the MP40s that my assault grenadiers come with, so that's a big pickup for me. 50 cal facing the wrong direction here. I threw a smoke grenade down to cover my assault grenadiers, and as soon as I saw him rotate his machine gun, I decided to get really aggressive. I'm trying to focus down and kill this this Vet 3 one because I've got the bar. It's actually possible, but he manages to just there. P3, assault grenadiers again moving into the cutoff. Going for a second P3 here to continue to build vehicle tempo. I know that PAX has gone for rapid reposition because I saw the way that he was moving his team weapons. Now, I actually think this was a big mistake by PAX. I want to call this out. If he had just beelined his way from... switch over PAX so you guys perspective. This is a mistake because this is 3 CP. If he had saved that and just gone straight down from assault carriers to exchangeable parts to Pershing, he could have had his Pershing out shortly after right now. Because he's bleeding so much infantry, he feels like he needs to get more map presence by having his 50 cals with the extra movement speed. But I actually think that was a mistake because his biggest window of opportunity is going to be using the Pershing to just crush all my vehicles. Based on what I've got right here, unless I engage him with everything together, including the Panzerjaeger with the Shrek, I'm going to lose. Like, I'm not going to be able to fight the Pershing with P3s. The P3s won't penetrate the front of the Pershing, so I have to, like, set a trap for him in order to kill off the Pershing. So I actually think this was PAX's, like, critical mistake where he could have come back into the game. But, you know, he's allowing me more space to breathe and more space to continue to apply pressure because he went for this rapid reposition instead. Assault Grenadiers, just holding down the middle, continuing to apply the VP pressure. I'm going to be using my P3 and P3s in a group together, upgrading the machine guns on both because they're pretty effective. Whoa, that volley of Zooks is very scary. I'm getting my machine gun in position to suppress these bazookas. Now I see him being a little bit greedy and not just retreating the Zooks. I'm going to come in and engage with the P3s at max range. Pop off a couple shots, wait till he suppress, and then I'm going to close, a little bit slow there, close the gap and try to push in. Now, guys, don't forget, if you see pinned squads, you can actually run them over with medium tanks. I know a lot of people were upset that like Crush wasn't in this game. It actually is, but only in that specific context, which I actually think. Okay, I'm gonna change target, focus on the 50 cal. It's vet 3. If I can pick up this 50 cal, oh, it's actually a great mine by PAX. Finish off the 50 cal because I don't have anything nearby to capture it with. Gonna get some quick repairs onto this P3, keeping this one out front, so that he's not able to come in and capitalize with his Zooks on the other P3. And see, I'm just going to slowly kind of kite backwards with this one, creating some space so I can repair my other P3. Some good shots in here. Keeping my vehicles, again, together because they support each other. Panzerjaeger in a defensive position here, just in case, you know, the Pershing kind of squeaks his way out over the side. I'm kind of anticipating that he's going to have it sometime soon. But I'm not sure exactly when. Go, Rifleman's forced to retreat, but the P3s are repaired now. We're going to try to close in, see if we can finish them off. Not getting super lucky on these scatter shots, but just squeaks there. PAX still doing a very good job of playing the map pretty wide, despite all the pressure he's facing. You know, he's still got these 2 VPs captured. I probably should have pivoted my focus back to his cutoff earlier, but I think as we get some repairs up, we're going to be able to do that. Now, I went for another Panzerjaeger call in here because I'm expecting the Pershing to come out pretty soon. I don't think a third P3 is necessarily going to help me here if he protects it well with his bazookas. But if I can get double Shreks and hit him either from the same or different angles, or potentially get like an ambush grenade off, between the 2 Panzer Shreks and the 2 P3s that I've got, I should be able to apply enough pressure to keep him away. PAX actually going for a 3rd bazooka squad here, which I think is a mistake, considering he just needs to save manpower for his Pershing. Collapsing on his sweeper engineer again. Big Zook volley coming in there. Need to be very careful. Gonna get aggressive, create space with my assault engineers. Machine gun actually covering the left-hand side here, or the right-hand side here, sorry. Getting some quick repairs in on my P3s. Gonna apply pressure with my healthy units on his cutoff. 8 red here. This is a dicey. Let's hope get the smoke out. Yeah, go smoke. Now smoke is going to make it much more difficult for your opponent to land the shots, especially from handheld AT, so it's actually saving my 8 rad there. Good mine by PAX, but we do manage to spot it out with the sweeper.
The enemy has taken a victory point.
Another rifleman in production. Again, I think this is a huge mistake from PAX. He just needs to save for the Pershing. The Pershing is going to give him so much presence and allow him to pressure my vehicles much better than another rifleman. Now, I've also gone for vehicle capture on my P3s. This is about the time that I'm usually going for that. I'm also going for advanced field repairs so I can keep them on the field. And I was going to go for the elephant as kind of like a novelty unit. But it also, you know, if the game goes long enough and the Pershing does manage to come out, the elephant's going to be a great, the perfect counter to the Pershing, as long as I can keep it away, which I should be able to do with my double Panzerjaeger Jaegers, especially with this anti-tank grenade assault snares here. The P3, again, you know, PAX overextending with a single unit. I'm going to collapse on him, get on his retreat path. Assault Grenadiers moving to the retreat path. Vehicles going straight into deny the capture. And this is looking like another very dead rifle squad. There we go. Assault Grenades to just finish the job there. PAX now, you know, he's gluing in now. He just needs to save. He needs to save for the Pershing. Pershing's going to allow him to claw his way back in. You know, he's got no tech, but like having access to the Pershing, it's going to give him the heavy armor presence that he needs to claw his way back in. Right here, going to pick off this 50 cal, swinging in with his bazooka squads. This is going to create an opening for me to collapse in the middle here. I'm going to respond with the P3s. I try to capture the 50 cal on retreat. But P3s just engaging with max range. Assault Grenadiers moving into the retreat path here, right? Same maneuver over and over and over again. Same maneuver, right? We're applying pressure with the mobile vehicles head on. The infantry are getting into the retreat path so we can do some cleanup, right? And now he's realized he's overextended with his bazookas, and I'm going to go and chase him down with the vehicle capture that I've got, especially good. There we go. Assault Grenades cleaning up one of the Zook squads. P3's chasing in, going to finish that second Zook squad. Also catch out the 50 cal that he recouped. And we're going to pick that off. Going to finish the 50 cal. I could grab it at this point, but didn't really see the value in it. Another rifleman getting caught on retreat here. And now, you know, PAX getting very close to the Pershing, but honestly, in my opinion, this is just too little too late. There we go, last rifleman cleaned up. Actually, there's one more that he's got because he rebuilt it. Throwing Assault Grenadiers. Now, guys, I want to call this out. A lot of people don't realize this. Like, when you're building your base, yes, you want to plant your buildings close to your base entrance so your units get to the field faster. But you want to be wary of the fact that your buildings can block your base MGs that are supposed to defend you. So I'm actually hiding behind his barracks right now. That's the whole reason I was able to walk all the way into his base. And throw some grenades. I was like, oh, can I just like walk in here? But no, we get caught out in the MG arc there. Continuing to apply the pressure with the P3s. Panzerjaegers here, a defensive position to cover the retreat of the P3s. I think, no, I was gonna say we don't cut this off. Probably should have stuck around with this P3 to cut this point off, but that's okay. We're actually like super ahead at this point. And now, you know, Pershing is out. Now, I just want you guys to listen to the audio very closely, because you'll notice that all heavy tanks have this fog of war sound. The KT makes it, the Pershing makes it. That's how you know it's on the field. It's almost like a global audio cue. And so I know the Pershing is on the field. So what I'm doing is I'm moving my Panzerjaegers together into this crater position for cover, acquiring the camo cloak. I'm going to aim to get this anti-tank grenade assault off. And I'm using the 8 rad to spot. I'm trying to find, okay, where is he, right? Where's the Pershing going to show up? In here, there he is. He's coming up the middle. I'm just going to hold fire, wait for him to close, baiting him in with the 8 rad. Get off my anti-tank grenade assault, get the engine damage, and now we're going to follow up with the P3s. We get some great volleys in from the Panzerjaeger, forces that away. P3s are going to come in and close now. I also call the elephant onto the field to follow up. But P3s, I'm going to close in here with crew shock tactics. You can see I'm just bouncing shots. I'm using the Vet 1 on both P3s as well to close the gap. Crew shock slowing him down a little bit more. Just trying to get up in his face. Managed to phase through the back of the vehicle, which is really unfortunate for him. Close and kill on the Pershing. That's game. So we called in the Elephant. We didn't get to use it, but you know, I think that's a pretty good overview of my typical build order for the new Panzerjaeger Kommand Battlegroup for DAK. God, if you look at those infantry killed versus lost, like I consider that a pretty good stomp of a game. But honestly, kudos and shout out to PAX for like his resilience and trying to stay in it. I really think that if he had just not built as many infantry squads and went for his Pershing sooner, he could have been much more competitive and probably won that game despite how many losses he took. But unfortunately, you know, with the extra build of the bazooka squad and the riflemen, he delayed his Pershing further, as well as the rapid reposition selection for his CPs. I think he gave me too much space and allowed me to build too much momentum, and that big on retreat wipe that I managed to pick up on his bazookas and his riflemen and his 50 cal basically allowed me to create an insurmountable advantage against the. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. Hope you guys learned some things about the battle group, also about how to play Crossing in the Woods. And I'll get more videos out soon. Also, welcome. You know, free weekend for COH3. So if you're brand new to the franchise, welcome. I stream regularly on Twitch, so hope to see you guys there as well as on YouTube. But thank you very much, and appreciate all of the new audience members, the new subscriptions. Appreciate you all. Catch you guys on the next.